First Kill and The Wilds have both been cancelled.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
They joined the absolute plethora of women-loving women shows that have been cancelled this year. In my last video about women-loving women shows being cancelled, we talked about Gentleman Jack, Charmed, Batwoman, I'm Not Okay With This, Roswell, Sense8, Glow, Wynonna Earp, DC Legends of Tomorrow, and a ton of other shows. There's also some other situations like Killing Eve where the writers pretty much spit in the face of the women-loving women community that supported the show for so long, and they just ended it in an absolute mess. So why is the women-loving women community being treated so poorly? Why are all our favorite shows being cancelled? And what can we do to stop this absolute hemorrhage of women-loving women content? To speak specifically about First Kill, it was a show that came out on Netflix on June 10th, and that's an important date to remember because I think it had a big impact on the show, because season 4 of Stranger Things Part 1 came out in May and Part 2 came out in July. So First Kill was very much in the middle of those two parts, and that was when a lot of people were trying to watch the first part of the season, which was hours and hours and hours of content, and they were trying to get it all in before the July one came out because it was also long, but people were wary of spoilers, and I think people were really focusing on Stranger Things when First Kill came out. But despite that, First Kill did pretty well. It peaked at 30.3 million views after its first full week of release, and it was only behind Stranger Things 4 and Peaky Blinders season 6. It spent one more week in the top 10 before falling out, and the series easily cleared 100 million views in its first 28 days of release. So all of that, 100 million views, that all sounds pretty good, right? Well, it wasn't good enough for Netflix, but a similar show that had similar numbers, had characters that were in the LGBT community, but they were male characters, that show got renewed not only for one season, but for 2. So why didn't First Kill, and why are all these other shows being cancelled? Well, the easy answer is of course money, but there's also the fact that we live in an extremely sexist, homophobic, lesbian-phobic society.
No, don't like that.
So to focus on the money part first, with these shows, obviously it's a huge thing with money, and like for Netflix specifically, subscribers, like they want people signing up for the show. The unfortunate truth about the world is that women are not as high earners as men generally. So whenever you have a straight couple, a gay male couple, and a lesbian couple, then usually statistics say that the lesbian couple should earn less. So women-loving women may not have the extra income to purchase all the streaming networks, or what I see a lot is people watching the shows on sites that are not the actual streaming sources. And I know that's a really kind of touchy thing, but I really would implore anyone who can to pay for the streaming services, even if you can figure something out with your family or your friends where everybody pays for one and then everyone gets access to each other's. I mean, my family has that going on. I pay for all the streaming services and then my family has access to all of them for free. But I'm sure in friendship groups or even fan groups that people would be able to figure those things out. That's why I am a big lover of VPNs, because the big thing, especially in Europe, is sometimes people can't get access the same day or the same week to the new episodes, and they have to wait, and they don't want to wait. And then people resort to Google Drives or other websites. But if you have a VPN, your view is being counted and you are paying for that service. So big fan of VPNs. I have a link in the description box if you want to get yourself one. It is the best way to see content the second that it drops, no matter where in the world you are. I do think that's only a small portion of it, and I know that there's extenuating circumstances and things like that, but if everybody said, oh, you know, I need to use my money for this or that, then that's why the shows are being cancelled, because yes, people are actually watching them, but it doesn't count, if that makes sense. The other thing is, of course, just good old-fashioned sexism and lesbian phobia, because I mean, people don't even want to say the word lesbian, that they are lesbian. I'm acutely aware that not all women-loving women are lesbians, but I do like to use the word as much as possible. Why I call it the lesbian news, because I do think that there's a lot of prejudice in society against it, and even people who actually are fucking lesbians themselves don't want to say that they're lesbians.
I am so confused.
Oh, I'm very confused.
She's a dyke.
She doesn't know she's a dyke.
That's because she's a yikes.
That's me.
Crazy.
That's me.
The sexism thing kind of comes back to money too, because people just know, like people who are in charge of these shows just know that if you put a female driven show up, if you put a lesbian show up, already it's like chopping a huge portion of the potential audience out. So for example, let's look at Showtime. They have the L Word Generation Q, and Dexter was their big hit last year. Showtime know that Generation Q is never going to be Dexter. It's never going to pull in those numbers, because no matter what, there's a huge portion of men out there that will never watch a female driven or female show that has lesbians in it. Like it just, that it's the world we live in, unfortunately.
But do you feel that society has programmed you to feel this way?
You know, not society at large, more so the L word.
And I know that there are men who would and that do enjoy female driven content, but it's just unfortunately the case. And so that means less viewers, less money, and that drives a lot of decisions. The other thing to take into account when talking about, you know, why Showtime promotes Dexter so much and not the L Word, or, you know, they don't really get any promotion at all, it is kind of the money thing too, because they know no matter how much they promote the show that they're not going to get it back in the same way if they're promoting it to general audiences. But my big issue is that they try and market these shows in the same way that they market generic straight shows and male shows, whereas that's ridiculous. Like, why would you do a cookie cutter marketing campaign for a show that is anything but? This is the way I think they should do it, is that the women loving women community is small compared to the world, right? But we are mighty, and we are fucking loyal is the other thing. You put a lesbian in a movie or a show for 5 minutes and you will have people creating stan Twitter accounts, creating YouTube edits about them. Like, I don't understand why they do not use this to their advantage, because guess what all this is? All those interacting with all the Twitter stans and YouTube people and podcasters, all of that is fucking free. Why would you not use it to your advantage? It's insane. So take the L Word Generation Q, for example, that I talk about incessantly. I'm not saying you need to come up to me and say, hey, I'll give you 10 grand over the course of season 3 to create 5 videos a week and talk about the L Word, because why would you do that when I'm sitting here doing it for free every day? Like, just come to me and say, hey Ash, you know what, you're a tiny channel, but when the L Word's on, there's like more than 1 million people coming through my channel. I'm not saying 1 million is some huge number, but it is a big number for Generation Q. So why would you not come to me and say, hey, we're going to give you a ton of goodie bags, L Word merch, t-shirts, stuff like that, and we'll promote you on our Instagram and our YouTube channel and Twitter, because they do have a lot of followers, but they just don't do anything with it. And give me, I don't know, some exclusive clips, and give me all the screeners, and that's kind of all you have to do. Maybe even give me an interview with 1 or 2 of the cast members. And I'm not saying like I'm some special person. I'm just using myself as an example. There's people out there for all of these shows already. And even if you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, maybe you break it up with like 3 or 4 people that talk about the show. But it just seems so crazy not to do something like that when people are already out here talking about the show and promoting it. And I don't think you can do this with regular shows. Like, it just wouldn't work, and then it creates like liability and stuff like that. But it just seems super wild not to try guerrilla marketing like this with women loving women shows, because if you look at my comment section, like every week there's people saying, I didn't know about the show, or I only watched this because you recommended it. And there's tons of people that do that, like Evelyn and Amanda and Alex. And Evelyn and Alex are way bigger than me and constantly have people saying that to them every day. Hi guys, Editing Ash here. I just wanted to be clear with what I'm saying about why it's good to subscribe and support the commentary channels, because those accounts are promoting the show. So they're literally making it their job to go out and tell people about the show. So by other people supporting them, those accounts get bigger and they can reach more people and therefore impact more people and get more people to watch the show. Because as I was saying with like the comment section and people saying I wasn't aware of it, there's so many people out there who may not even realize the L Word is back or season 3 is coming. And I know people who are really involved in the fandom think, how is that possible? But I'm telling you, they exist. There's people even in the fandom who don't even know the actual original L Word exists, because people are busy, people have lives, or people, they just casually watch the show, or they're not really invested in the internet. So it's just, that's what I'm trying to get at here with, I'm not saying just give them attention because they're lesbians or because, they have these accounts. I'm saying getting them involved, getting them to speak to more people, that is kind of helping with the promotion altogether, considering that most of these networks and services and streaming and whatever you want to call them, they won't spend money and promote the shows, as we've seen with fucking all of them. First Kill, Bloody, the L Word, Generation Q, all of them. Like, Showtime won't spend any money, none of them will spend any money. So support the people that are doing it for free is what I'm trying to say. Or don't. It's totally up to you, obviously. And this kind of falls in with that, with, the community and people who are watching the shows, that some people, they'll watch every single video or listen to every podcast, but they won't subscribe, they won't rate the podcast, they don't comment, those things. And I'm not saying you have to do it for every single one. I'm not saying you need to subscribe to someone you don't like. I'm saying that if you're consuming someone's content for free and you can push a button to help them out, and they're also a member of your community talking about a show that is predominantly featuring, the women loving women community, then I don't think, subscribing or liking someone's comment is too much to ask. I mean, people can't wait to support rich celebrities and their podcasts and YouTube channels, but they have an issue with like normal people sometimes. But each to their own. Do whatever you want to do. My advice, if you want this to stop happening, is to tune in and watch women loving women shows on the legit streaming service or channel, and hype them up as much as possible. And if you see someone with a first kill podcast or someone with a new YouTube channel that talks about a brand new women loving women show, support them, watch them if you like them, and give them a comment, you know, something like that. Go follow their Twitter. That's the best advice I have, because the other advice would be to change the fundamental makeup of the world and get rid of sexism and make, you know, decisions not based in financial dealings, which I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately. So this was a bit of a ranty video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I mean, let me know down in the comments what you think. If you think there's another situation, vendetta against our community, make sure you're subscribed and following me on social media, and I will see you back here for another video very, very soon, because I'm working on a few right now. And as always, make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.